Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Tuesday, July the 12th. The year's 2022. Let's talk trading. Nothing to fear, part 2 with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and from Walmal. Walmal, we ran out of time yesterday.
We certainly did. Yeah, it's we've been talking about this idea of fear, and it's such a huge part of not just trading, but just life in general. And so we could probably sit on the phone here and on this video and talk about fear for the next 6 weeks nonstop. Because it's just so many elements of it. But yesterday, I think where I got cut off, I was just talking about what are some of the reasons that you have fear? What are some of the things that are causing you to have fear? And one of the things I was trying to get to the point is that so many of us get so into we're trading with account sizes that are too small, or we're trading, or we got a proper size account, but the problem is we're trading, way too big for that. And then the next thing you know, anytime it moves even a point, it's like, oh shoot, look how much came out of the account there because of that. Obviously just paper, but still, and it just generates that fear level to go and get spiked up even more. And that's the thing that I think that we have to go and really be mindful of. And I just said something. I want to correct myself. I said, you don't have an account size that's proper or proper in size. Well, let me just go and correct it and say any account size is a proper account size. What's not proper is how much you may be trading against it. That's where the problem is. If you're just starting out and you've only got $100 account, you only got $100 account. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody starts somewhere, and the only thing is you got no business trading one lot or two lots with a $100 account. Maybe you should be sitting there trading one mini lot, or even there are brokers out there that do micro lots. Maybe you should only be trading one micro lot. Get your trading game down, and then you can go and find alternate sources to go and bring your account size up. And in addition to that, you just keep on trading at that one micro lot. And if you're successful every day, you can go build your account up just slowly over time. But what's really nice is I know Tiro, you've got this wonderful spreadsheet that you've shared many times in the past of how much money would you make if you just made 2% every day, and that gets like astronomically big very, very quickly. Even if you were starting with $1,000 account or even $100 account, it will get pretty large pretty quickly if you're able to go and do that. So let's just get into the game and just go and learn to trade and trade what we see, and we should be good. One of the things that we're going to talk about with fear is I have heard this way back when back into high school. I had a teacher. His name was Mr. Schultz, who was my math teacher. And I remember ninth grade taking out high school algebra, and that's one of those classes where we made a determination if you're going to be in what they now call STEM classes. We didn't call it back then, but if you didn't pass algebra 1, you were put into other classes, and if you passed it, then you were going to go on a STEM track. And he had a famous saying. He said, fear is false evidence appearing real. And then he would go back and he'd say, appearing very real. And his point was that, algebra it's a tough subject when you're first learning it as someone who's, in 8th or ninth grade, but the reality is that, just about anybody can go and do algebra. Most people, because it's so different, it's so different from what they're used to doing, they have a fear of being able to do it. And so they create the evidence in front of their face, and they actually create reasons why they can't do it. And why do I bring that up? Because I think we, as traders, tend to do the same thing. We create reasons why we can't win. We trade, oh, this market's rigged. Well, it may very well be, but I can still make money on a rigged market if I figure out the rigged market, right? So, or these brokers are out to get me, or, it's, this is a zero-sum game. Well, if it's a zero-sum game, Well, yeah, it is a zero-sum game, but the reality is somebody's winning money and somebody's losing money in the zero-sum game. And what we need to do is stop fearing and start working. And the best way to overcome fear, in my opinion, is to work through it. The thing is, you got to go and work through it. You got to work through your fear, and you got to work through what's actually happening on your trading screen. What do you say?
Yeah, well, actually, I think I texted you the link. I watched a video yesterday. This lady was talking about fear, and she says, for her, one of her biggest fears that she had to overcome was public speaking. I think that's one of the things people fear public speaking more than death. There's some of us that, can't wait to get on stage or in front of the camera or whatever. Um, but she was saying that number one, fear is real. And number two, fear is an emotion. And number three, fear is a sensation in your body that's the equivalent, the same sensation as excitement. And and her idea for overcoming fear is to tell your brain you're excited rather than you're afraid. You just basically say, I'm excited to get in this trade, as opposed to I'm afraid to get in this trade. And then
Right.
um, you just wind up doing it. And the main thing with trading is, we have the ability to, once again, we can turn trading into gambling, and that's not a derogatory thing. It's where it's more of a way of looking at it where it's a relief. You go, okay, I placed my bet, and I'm either going to lose, say, 10 pips, or maybe I'll make 5 pips. Or it's like the worst I'm going to let happen is I'm going to lose 10 pips. So you already pretty much know the downside, under normal circumstances. Yeah, there can always be that one flash of 20 or 30 pips, but that doesn't happen on a regular enough basis for that really to be a concern in the front of your mind. You always have it in the back of your mind, but not the front. So, for example, right now we just broke the previous H1 high, which also happens to be the Walmal line at 18. Is that right? 1860 on the chart here.
Yeah, 1860.7. Yeah.
So they're pretty much right together in the high. So the question is, do you want to short it or do you want to long it?
Right. And you just have to make that decision. And based on whatever your methodology is, in terms of what you've done, your homework, that's what makes your decision. That's what creates your biases. And I agree with what that lady had said, Tiro. I did get that video. I didn't get a chance to go through it yet, but I agree. It's the type of thing you gotta go and just get over it. But one of the things that there is no real difference between excitement and fear. It's just when it's excitement, where we tend to have a smile on our face, and when it's fear, we have the opposite of a smile. We have a frown or a scared face or whatever. But it's the same emotion. It's just one direction or the other. But what do we do with it? And how do we deal with it? And I think the way from what I'm understanding what she said, you got to go and take your fear and turn it into an excitement. Well, okay, let's be pragmatic about that. How do we do that? That's the question. And how do we do that in real life? Because that's just as important.
Well,
And
what
how
she
do we do
does
that
is
in our trading?
she basically says, she goes, once you feel the fear, you count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then what she says to do is to say, I'm really excited about this. And I'm excited to go speak. And then you basically send a different signal to your brain. It's like you have to control your brain as opposed to it
Right.
controlling you, because it's like your mind has a mind of its own
Yeah.
sometimes. It's pretty funny, but I mean, if you can actually detach and watch what your brain is doing or saying, um, it's pretty funny sometimes.
Yeah, I think that she's onto something there. My son in high school, he was part of a shooting club where they did competition shootings. And one of the things that they taught him was controlled breathing. this whole idea that, when you walk up to the line and you got to go and hit a target that's so many yards away, and you're going and you're competing against some of the best people in the area, best people in the region or wherever you're at. You got crowds of people staring at you. It can be pretty nerve-wracking and lots of fear to even walk up to the line, because you have this fear of failing, or you have this, either failing for yourself or failing in front of others. So like that, again, that stage fright type of thing. But, one of the things that his instructors taught him was you walk up to that line and you go and you just breathe in. You 1, 2, 3, 4. I think they did 4 count. You count to 4. Then hold your breath for 4. Then exhale and count into 4. And just by doing that, what they're able to do is actually lower their heart rate down tremendously. And we're talking about something that's a little bit different. But trading's no real difference here. The reality is we need to go and get control of our mind, get control of our emotions, and do what we're doing. Now, the only thing I'm going to go and add to it as a caveat is that one of the things that will go and alleviate a lot of fear is if you've actually put together, and I say this on every single video, and that is put together a plan. Put together a plan, because otherwise, you can do all the lower your heart rate down to 0 if you wanted to. I don't know. But it doesn't do you any good if you still don't know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of the fear that's out there too, is that, okay, I know there's an opportunity here. I know there's an opportunity, but what am I supposed to do? And then what happens is fear sets in because you don't know what to do. So I would call that created fear. You created the fear for yourself because you didn't do your homework.
Yeah. Or it's like, being in a game and you might be the last person up to the plate, and if you can drive the run in from third, you know maybe you win the game. um Otherwise, you go into extra innings, or you got fouled at the buzzer. All you got to do is make 2 shots and you win the game because you're down by 1. I mean, what happens is you start to put all this stuff in your mind about, oh, if I miss, we lose. If I miss, we blow the championship. And as opposed to just focusing, like, spin the ball, bounce the ball, focus on the back of the rim, make sure you follow through, have your grip right, and you focus on the process, or quote unquote the plan, and then you execute the plan, and then the results will follow. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose. And then the same thing comes over to trading. The problem is with the fear is people start recalculating. And that's why, I put up a lot of these indicators, like these training wheel indicators, um, on these methods, because I don't want my brain to have to think. I can just look, and not even have to even read the indicator. If it's green, it means I'm going long. If it's red, it means I should go short. If it's gray or some other color, then chances are it means I should just wait. And once I see it, just react. Don't even overthink it. And it's like, yeah, you might have a loser, or you might be stuck for a while, but you just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. And if the plan or method is sound, statistically sound, and you're not in a one of the long tails, you're going to come out ahead.
Yeah, it's like the old adage. It really comes down to wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, and
You got to have a plan and just do it.
yeah, in fact, we're coming up to the last minute. Fear, I'm afraid we're gonna run out of time again. And just so you know, we're right here at that 1866, which is the previous day's low. So that just means we entered the previous day's lower wick zone, and I'm gonna look for price to fall out of it. So I'm gonna be looking for a short somewhere in this area. So, fellow traders, I hope that helps you overcome fear. And if not, send me a message, either a reply on the video or on the Facebook or Crestlick or something, and tell me what you're really afraid of, and then maybe we can address it. Because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.